Hello, my generational change makers. Welcome to the Money with Saprina podcast. Today, we are talking about lifestyle creep, or as I like to call it, lifestyle inflation. This is when your standard of living rises to meet or oftentimes outpace your income. But first, I am recording today's podcast in my car. My fiance is having a minor surgery. She tore her ACL, and I had to get this podcast done. So we are doing it from the car today. My sound quality might not be as good as it used to be, and there will be no video accompanying this podcast, but sometimes you just got to get it done because done is better than perfect. So let's go. Now, lifestyle inflation. This is one of those things that happens subtly. It happens slowly, and so often you don't notice it. That's why they call it lifestyle creep. Things like luxuries become necessities. As you make more money, your taste, your expectations, your standard of living start to rise to meet your income. And there is nothing wrong with that. You're making more money so that your lifestyle can meet your income. Your lifestyle can rise, right? That is the reason we work hard. That's the reason we want to earn more money. So lifestyle inflation is not bad on its own. The problem is that when you're not watching it, the problem is when your lifestyle is outpacing your income. That's when it becomes a problem, right? When you are now earning and spending at the same rate, your savings is dwindling because your lifestyle. That's when lifestyle inflation becomes a problem. Lifestyle inflation on its own is not a problem. That's the reason we all go to work. Your lifestyle should rise as your income rises. It just needs to rise a little bit slower. All right. What causes lifestyle inflation? There's a couple of key things that cause it. I deserve it thinking. I work hard. I deserve to have this. I work hard. I should treat myself. I deserve a little treat. And you probably do, but at what rate are we treating ourselves? Number two, social comparison. Are we looking at the people around us? We're looking at our peers and they have the nice car. I should have the nice car. They live in the nice apartment. Well, we do the same job. I should live in a nice apartment. Social comparison, that's probably the number one cause of it, right? And it doesn't just happen with your peers or your coworkers or the people around you. It happens with social media. It happens, you see your friends from college, they're all going on vacation. You also are like, well, should I be going on vacation? So it's social comparison. Number three, it happens on a subconscious level, right? You're living your life, you're spending on autopilot, you're operating on autopilot. And you are building a life on default, not building one on purpose. This is when you are ordering out, you're Ubering everywhere, you've got multiple subscription services, and then you're looking at subscription blindness. And we'll talk about subscription blindness a little bit later. But these are the three primary causes that I see of lifestyle inflation or lifestyle creep. Now, how does this show up? There are three primary areas of your budget where you will see this show up most often. Number one is housing and transportation. There are what I call the big four. The big four things that eat up your budget. Housing and transportation are two of those big four. You get the raise, and so you get the new car. You get the new job, and so you upgrade your apartment. These are your two biggest expenses generally, even if you're not subject to lifestyle inflation, housing and transportation. And I always tell my clients, if you can keep housing and transportation down, then your budget will stay down. If those two areas of your budget are ballooning fast, that is going to eat up your disposable income so much faster than you ever imagined. The thing with housing and transportation and why it's such a problematic area on your budget if you let it get out of control is that those are two areas that it's hard to pare back on, right? You sign the lease on the more expensive apartment and then you realize 6 months into that lease that you can't afford it, you're locked into that lease. You buy the car that, the fancy car, and maybe you can afford the payment, but you realize that you can't afford the maintenance on that car, you are locked into that car loan. And getting out of that car loan is expensive. Getting out of that lease is expensive. So these are two areas of your budget that will quickly get out of control if you allow them and are really hard to pare back on. So these are two areas that I always say, as your lifestyle grows, you increase these two areas the slowest. You have to be very sure when you increase these two areas. Okay, where else does it show up? Shows up in your daily conveniences. The Ubers when you normally would take the train. The meal deliveries when you used to cook your meals at home. The housekeeping because now your work schedule is really demanding and you don't have time or energy to do the housekeeping. And then subscriptions and memberships. I talked about subscription blindness earlier. We as a people are stacking streaming services and we develop subscription blindness. We have been $5 here, $10 here, $15 here, on a monthly basis to death. And we don't even realize it anymore. And $10 here, $20 here, $25 here will quickly add up to an extra $100 in your budget without you even realizing that it happens. Subscription blindness is a real problem. And I should do a whole episode on subscription blindness. Now, why does this matter? It's dangerous because when you don't notice it. We call it creep because you don't notice it. You wake up one day and there's extra $200 in your spending budget and you don't know where it came from. The lifestyle creep is dangerous because it happens slowly without you noticing it. You got a promotion at work, so you got a new car. And that new car added $100 to your old car payment. And on its own, it was no big deal because you got a big raise and you could afford it. Then your insurance went up $50 because you got a new car. And you want to keep your new car clean. So when you went to the car wash and they offered you a $39 a month car wash subscription service, you said yes because $39 a month didn't feel like a big deal. And now you got that raise and you're working a little bit harder and your hours are a little bit longer. And so now you're ordering food delivery service every week and that's $40 a pop. And over a month, that adds $160 quietly to your expenses. And somewhere along the lines, you upgraded your Pilates membership to the elite tier. And that was an extra $40. And again, that $40 on its own was not a big deal. But you have slowly added $389 to your monthly expenses without even noticing it. And maybe it happened over 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year. But your expenses have increased $389 quietly. You're not even sure when it happens. You just notice that your budget feels a little bit tighter these days. You've got a little less breathing room and you're looking at your budget trying to figure out why. Now, I am not saying that you should not enjoy your life. You get a raise, absolutely, I want you to enjoy that raise. But I want you to increase your lifestyle slowly. The goal isn't to live a miserable life and not enjoy your money. It's actually the exact opposite. I want you to live a wildly fulfilling life, but your lifestyle has to expand slower than your salary and not the other way around. And so often we are doing it the other way around. A general rule of thumb for myself and my clients is that when you get a raise or a bonus, that you allocate a percentage to your lifestyle. You decide on the front end, this is how much I'm going to allow my lifestyle to inflate. If you receive a fairly large cash bonus, like in my last corporate job, I would get a bonus once a year and it would be anywhere from $20,000 to $25,000. As a general rule of thumb, I would allocate 50% to improving my financial situation. That was like the rule for myself. So for the years that I was building an emergency fund, I would put 50% of my bonus towards that goal. In the stage of life where I was paying off debt, I would throw that 50% towards my debt. And some years I would use that to max out my Roth, but at least 50% of that money would go to improving my financial situation. The other 50%, I would allow myself to spend on whatever I wanted. In most years, it funded a really nice international vacation. Now, here's how you can tell if you are in the lifestyle creep. I call this the rideshare test. Uber entered the market and created a new category of rideshare. They strategically underpriced their product to remove any barriers and create dependency. Think about it. Prior to the launch of Uber, how did you get to that concert? How did you get to the airport? You called a friend, you took a train, you had someone take you. Uber created a customer out of us all by creating a habit, and we didn't even notice it. Once the habit was created, they rose their prices. And then do you all remember all of a sudden Uber became super expensive? That's because they used penetration pricing. They created a habit, they infiltrated your lifestyle, and then there was an expense attached to that habit that came later. So I created the rideshare test. Take a minute and think about a service, a subscription, an experience in your life that you use on a regular routine today that was not a part of your life 1 year ago. Maybe it's the Pilates class. Maybe it's the regular hair appointments, the meal prep service, the standing bi-weekly nail appointment, or your cleaning lady. Now add up these expenses. take that number, divide it by your take-home pay, then multiply that by 100, and this is your lifestyle inflation rate. Now, is that rate keeping up with your salary progression, or is it outpacing it? If you have a 5% lifestyle inflation rate and your salary is growing at 3% a year, then your lifestyle is outpacing your salary. So what do you do about it? Take a good hard look at your budget. List out all of the wants that are currently in your budget and ask yourself, am I choosing these expenses on purpose, or is it happening by default? Sometimes we spend money without even realizing that we're spending it. Ask yourself, am I getting value from these expenses? Are these things that I'm just purchasing out of habit, or do I truly value them? Because I want you to cut the things that you don't value so that you can spend generously in the things that you do. All right. I hope that was helpful. I hope you got something out of it. If you did, share this podcast with somebody who needs it, and I'll see you in the next episode.